Okay, just gonna wait for the first person to turn up, just to check the microphone and the connection. Right, so I see somebody. Is that? Yeah, sorry, the camera is just. I cannot stream from my mobile phone for some unknown reason. Like it's saying that apparently I don't qualify according to these stupid guidelines. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So, pardon me. Can anybody hear me? Can you type in the chat, please, and just tell me if you can hear me? Right, I'm gonna grab something a bit better for the background because everything here is a bit all over the place. But just give me a second. Yeah, Grith, can you? Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, good. So I think everyone else can hear me probably. So give me a second. I'll just grab a bit more of a plain background here so you can see all the pieces. The focus is probably gonna be like this. I don't know if it's. Can you see everything okay? What I'm doing and just the pieces themselves. I mean, you can see them when I bring them closer, right? So should be able to see them okay. So give me a second, I'll grab something else. All right. So we'll do that. Probably just put that a little bit this way as well, just a tiny bit, like so, just so you can see all this stuff. So just gonna put that here, and I'll put some tools over here. Okay, so what's up, everybody? Well, wait with the questions for a bit. So, so there's already 4 of us. So as you would have known, I mean, I only found out yesterday, but apparently, according to friends of mine from the paleo community, a veteran of paleontology has passed away. I think it's December last year. So his name is Dale Russell. He has actually described this very dinosaur that I'm holding right now, the Daspletosaurus torosus. So yeah, I thought just do like a brief pause of silence for everyone here, and just like do it, you know, to. I mean, it's part of my background as well. We always do a minute of silence, but we can do like maybe 30 seconds of silence at most, and then we will continue and we'll start getting into questions and we'll get into all of these bits right here. So just a few moments of silence for Dale Russell, rest in peace, and then we'll continue. Okay, I think that does it. Okay, so well, okay, so guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome to everyone who just came in. In case you literally just showed up, this is the stream where I'm going to be assembling this Daspletosaurus torosus model kit, which was done by Candid Sculpts by a friend of mine from Canada named Mike, and I decided to pick this at a time that it happened that obviously the paleontologist who has described this, you know, this dinosaur, he has recently passed away. So I thought we'll do one stream like that in memory of him, and of course get our time together, enjoy ourselves, and all the usual cool things. So let's just readjust the microphone a little bit just so I can see the chat, and make sure that it doesn't try anything funny. There we go. Okay, so throw in your questions if you want. Just tell me what you've been doing and everything, and I'll just continue with the building this awesome model kit, starting with the millicut, because we have to seal the gaps. Don't have a lot of it left. I'll have to buy a new one, or maybe I can dig up some green stuff. But green stuff is quite old, so I'm hoping it's still working. I'm not sure. Oh, we'll see. Not to worry. So let's see how this goes. Yep, I'm looking forward to the recode of Isle. I wanna scare the crap out of people who will be playing the game by playing Dinosuchus, just jump scaring them out of the water. And also I wanna play as the pterosaur because I think flying will be absolutely awesome. I'm wondering how they're gonna be doing the mechanics of, taking off and landing and stuff like that. I'm really curious, and whether or not it can be affected if you crash into the trees or into the mountains or whatever. I've missed that part completely. I don't really know what new creatures are there, to be honest. And I mean, I don't really know. Aside from Dinosuchus and Pteranodon, I actually am not sure. So if you don't mind, just drop the list of the dinos and just tell me what they are, and I'll look them up later. Or we can look them up later during the stream if we have time, just once I finish with this. Because this is gonna take some time to cure as well once I get it ready. You're gonna hear some hands rub. All right, what else is going on here? Let's have a look. Episode 9, I haven't watched it. I don't want to give my money to that piece of junk. Sorry, but not gonna do it. Disney Star Wars to me is not Star Wars. That's just what I am. To me, it's all about pre-Disney Star Wars. And if I have to sacrifice everything that they have made, that is actually decent. I don't mind. I mean, to me, Disney Star Wars, it's just not good. To me, no. I mean, if you like it, you're welcome to, but I will never be able to accept it as in any way a decent set of films, because they're not. They're just a typical sort of cash cow thing that calls itself Star Wars, but it's not. But it's completely inconsistent with everything Star Wars. It breaks the whole universe and all of its rules and everything, and just messes it up completely. It totally ruins the characters. And yeah, I can rant about it long enough, but I don't really see the point, because everybody out there, like geeks and gamers and all other people who have done very in-depth videos, they have pretty much covered all the main things I have to say about it. So I haven't watched it for the reason that I just simply don't want to. I'm just done with it. I might watch The Mandalorian out of curiosity, but other than that, no. I'm done with Disney Star Wars, at least for now. It's just not gonna. It just doesn't resonate with me anymore. To me, basically, Disney Star Wars doesn't exist. Okay, let's see. So Troodon's Tenonychosaurus, that's like, I presume, yeah, it's counted as one. Kentrosaurus, Protoceratops, Hypsilophodon, Homalocephaly. Homalocephaly may be maybe a synonym to Prenocephaly, by the way. That's quite heavily implied, at least. I don't know if there is actually any publication that's directly addressing it, but last I recall, there are quite strong tendencies to lean towards that idea that Prenocephaly is basically an older Homalocephaly. Well, the other way around, actually, because Prenocephaly, I think, was described before. So Homalocephaly basically is, I think it's basically a younger Prenocephaly. So technically, because it has juvenile traits or some stuff like that. A bit of glue right here. See, just pointing it out like that. So let's put some glue in there. A bit of putty in here. Oh, you know what? I messed up. You know why I messed up? Because I should have put the putty first, because it takes longer to do, and then the glue, because the glue is gonna dry and that's gonna be useless. So yeah, silly me. Right. Okay. Let's warm this up a little bit more, just to. Yes, Shadiversity is amazing. I love his content. He's really cool. He's very down to earth kind of guy, and he's very reasonable in his approaches. He's like he clearly shares a lot of the basic views on just general everyday things, which I don't want to get into too much detail. But we are clearly on the same page on that area, and yeah, I mean, I'm glad I got recommended by one of my friends and subscribers as well from this channel a while back, because I was getting into researching, the historical medieval stuff, and he just said, hey, like, this guy just like really good. He does this and this and this, and I went in to check him out, and I'm like, wow, that's really awesome. I need to really spend some time there before I continue doing stuff for the novel that I'm still trying to write, but don't have time to sit down properly because of all the other crazy stuff that's going to be going on. But let's hope 2020, my year, is going to do better for me in both fronts. So let's just go and see what else you guys say. Let's see. Monolithosaurus, yep. And two that I know of, yeah, that's right. These are the ones that I've listed already. And that's the tail coming on. Now this is gonna be a bit of a yes. Pardon for the weird sounds. You know how it is. It's all the usual stuff. It's the model kit resin crack hitting my head. Sorry. This is really cringe. Right. Well, anyway, who cares? We do cringe as well on this channel. So if somebody who cannot stand cringe, then this is meant to offend. If you like the cringe, then welcome to the party. Right. So what else? Yeah, Magyarosaurus will be nice. I actually want to make a model of Magyarosaurus in 1:20. It's only going to be about 30 centimeters, so it's quite a small sauropod, nice to make. But not yet, though, because right now I'm mostly going to be focusing on Two Medicine, Morrison, and Hell Creek. And once I get a few more taxa out there from these areas, then I'm probably going to try something else, and then we'll see. Maybe I might go into the Romanian Hatek Basin. But yeah, that would be nice. So yeah, just gonna add a few more fillers. See, in this area here, just want to add a few more fillers to make sure it adjusts properly. Yeah. People tell me that I should really do this with my gloves on sometimes, but I just can't be bothered because they start loosening up and I'm like, it goes all over the place. So from this list, though, Hypsilophodon sounds awesome. I don't know why, but I like these small kind of critters that are just completely useless and just run around and just annoy everybody. And because they're really fast, not many can catch them. So I think that would be quite fun to play as. Like Dryosaurus, basically. Dryosaurus is the best. And Hypsilophodon will probably be awesome too, but it's much smaller. So I don't know. Is it going to be a playable dinosaur or is just going to be, for the snacks? I would expect it would be for the snacks only because it's just really small and there's not much to do with it. But who knows? Oh, really? You think Titan will be better then? Is it? I mean, I've heard something very interesting that apparently there is a suspicion that they could be synonymous, but I could make I could make it. I could make a Titan instead. That's fine. I'm not actually bothered. I don't intend to do both, so I might just do one. But yeah, Titan it is. What is it? It's like 8 meters, so that's 40 centimeters probably in 1:20, right? Something like that. I'm pretty sure, or maybe bigger. I'm not sure, but it's definitely not huge. I remember that it wasn't huge. It was bigger than Magyarosaurus, I'm pretty sure, but it wasn't bigger than like. It's not on the same par as like Camarasaurus and stuff like that, or not even Nigersaurus, I believe. So yeah, I would probably say it's either 7 or 8 meters in length, which means it will be about 35 to 40 centimeters. And did the camera just readjust again? Yeah, I think it's jumping around with this stuff. So yeah, we're just gonna start putting in some more of this filler. Of course, fillers are just really annoying. It's the most annoying parts about building model kits, guys. It's putting in fillers. For me personally, I absolutely hate this part of building kits. I mean, I like building generally. I'm cool with it overall. But when it comes to putting in fillers, it's like it gets all over your fingers. It just becomes a bit annoying. But once it's done, though, it's gonna be pretty cool. So, and also once I put some of that in and leave that to cure for a little bit, because I've got some filler here, so I need to put that in as quickly as possible. And then I can quickly bring some things that I'm working on in front of the camera to show you. So that will be nice and fun as well. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just trying to smoothen it out like that here. But yeah, Hatek Island or Hatek Basin, ecosystem is very appealing for modeling because most of the animals are not that big, so it's gonna be quite nice to make. I'll make a Hatzegopteryx in a standing position, so it's a walk pose for that one, and then I'll do like the Iwos Darho or whatever the hell it is. How do you say that? You know what I mean? It's basically the smaller relative of Hatzegopteryx, basically from the same area. But that one I will make in a flying sort of wingspan position. And then, of course, Balaur as well. I think Balaur would be nice for this type of thing. That would be cool to just show off how they look, together. So dry fit for this leg and put the putty in first. Yeah, that's the same thing with every time whenever the apex predators of the system come around, everybody gangsta till they show up. It's always like that. Yeah, that's the one. Yoras Darho or something like that, or Yoras Darho. I'm sorry, but my tongue just breaks. But yeah, this is the one I also want to make, just to make it clear that's the other one. And of course, the Strutiosaurus transylvanicus as well. It's going to be like a tiny 11 centimeter long little piglet, midget, whatever. You get the point. Of course, with armor on. So that's going to be nice. And what else? There's the Telmatosaurus, the mini Hadrosaurid as well. Dude, as I said before as well, and I'll just repeat as well that these are things that I just really consider making because I really want to do something that's not quite frequently done. But at the same time, at the moment, I am more focused on two medicine, Hell Creek and Morrison taxa. So yeah, mostly American stuff at the moment. But there are some things that I want to make first for that, and then after these are done, I will probably switch, or temporary switch onto the maybe European, like UK and Romania mostly. But sometimes I might jump around between them because there's some really small size taxa that are quite easy and quick to make, in this size scale. So that might probably be nice to do as well. We'll see. But yes, Ballour will happen. We will make it happen. It's gonna be like something like 10 centimeters long or something like that, I think, because it's not a big one. It's about 2 meters in length in total, I think. So it will be nice to see how it looks next to all other 1:20 scale. Well, I haven't heard anything about it being confirmed. I know that this is a very common kind of position among people to say that it's just a juvenile Tyrannosaurus, but I think they are really at a stalemate on this. They haven't really been able to fully exclude every single, like they haven't been able to exclude the opposing position to whatever stance that they are taking up on that front, I think. So I don't know. It could be either. Let's just say if it's a juvenile T-Rex, then that's it. That's just a small T-Rex that hasn't grown up before it died, which is a shame. And if it's not, if it's actually a valid taxon, then one of the things that I believe Dr. Carr specifically addressed when he was researching the subject was whether or not Nano-tyrannus could be potentially linked or recovered as an Albertosaurin. Because if it turned out to be an Albertosaurin, then that would definitely be able to validate the taxon. But as far as I know, he was unable to find any material that would actually support Nano-tyrannus as an Albertosaurin, which just basically means it's not. It's still a Tyrannosaurin, so therefore, with all these things taken into account, he considers it just a juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is a very high chance. But I would want to wait and see and just stay away from it for the time being, as in from declaring anything. I would just simply just wait and see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen, if anything, because we don't have any more information that is available to ourselves, to do anything about it. Yeah, it does fit the ontogeny as well, so it's kind of more leaning towards the idea that it's very much likely to be a juvenile Tyrannosaurus. But yeah, Bloody Mary is another one, but again, once it's, hopefully, if it gets recovered into the public domain, then we can see what else might come out of that. It might just turn out that it was just another young Tyrannosaurus Rex, so who knows? Or maybe not. We'll see. It could be that what we know as Nano-tyrannus might actually be a T-Rex, but that Bloody Mary itself might actually be Nano-tyrannus. I don't know if anybody has considered that a possibility, but, just saying. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, so this is kind of getting there. Okay, so we've got the leg. Don't worry about this, that it looks noticeable because of the colors and stuff. Once you start painting it, it's all gonna hide. Now let's do the second leg. So just a dry fit, just to show you. The only thing, okay, so while I'm at it, I don't know if Mike is gonna see it, but this is one of those times when I would take the opportunity to highlight that it's a very the style itself is very clearly inspired by the way that Andy Atuchin does his theropods, which makes them a little bit too skinny for my liking. It's like they're not shrink wrapped. That's not the same thing. If you notice, look, see? It's not shrink wrapped. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly consistent. It's just, I just think it needs to be a little bit more robust, especially at the tail as well. The tail is a little bit too weepy wobbly, while I think it should have been a little bit more, a little bit thicker. And in terms of the legs, of course, it's debatable. I could still say that it should be okay, but for the arms, personally, I don't know. Maybe the arms could be a little bit more, a little bit bigger as well, because Daspletosaurus is known for having the biggest arms in proportion out of any tyrannosaurid. So those are my main mini nitpicks. And perhaps it could have gone a little bit more robust on the head as well in some areas, just a tiny bit. It's like me and Michael, we make very mutually consistent models, so you can put them together in the same collections and they fit. But one of the things that I noticed that we both have is he tends to make his models a little bit slimmer, not shrink wrapped, slimmer, not the same thing. So he tends to go by what, more of a slim type of approach. And I tend to make them a little bit too beefy from time to time. So I think the best place to meet would be somewhere in between for both of us. That's the conclusion I have come to, which I think is quite interesting to observe, because we frequently coordinate with each other about how we do things, what we do, and we chat about it, we laugh about it. He tells me a lot of things that sometimes if I make something and I'm just like looking at it and I cannot tell what to do next, and he would just be like, okay, get rid of this bit here and try do smaller or whatever. And then it turns out when I do it, it actually works very nicely. And sometimes he would do something similar. I would be like, yeah, just don't be afraid, add a bit more there. And he does it and he'll be like, oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, Mike is amazing. I mean, it's funny that I actually encountered him just by accident on Instagram. I think was the first time I actually saw one of his posts. It was recommended to me or something like that, and I just went like, "Holy crap, this is amazing! Like, let me check this guy out. Let's see what." I was like, "Let's see what he's up to." And then I messaged him. I asked him a few things and just basic stuff, and then we just ended up chatting. And eventually, we just kind of stuck together in that sense, in a way that I was digging his stuff. We exchanged opinions. We seem to be very similar in many ways as well, the way we think, the way we look at things. And yeah, we do have minor like bits where we probably would do it differently, like in terms of how we view certain taxa and stuff like that. For example, he leans into the idea that he's more of a believer that the dinosaur park taxon of Daspletosaurus, I mean the species, is a yet undescribed species. So, which may be a fair point, but I'm more of a leaning towards the idea that dinosaur park Daspletosaurus is just a torosus, which Dr. Carr has described in the 1999. I think he had made a publication about it. Okay, just the legs, so we'll just get rid of that bit here. No, they would not. They would not. Well, I mean, the thing is, their tooth replacement cycles vary in time, but even 1 or 2 years is not going to be enough to make a difference. It's just not going to happen, to my understanding. And also, as far as I'm concerned, I just make the same argument over and over that it's just an opinion of individuals. It's not supported by any actual evidence. If this is their excuse, then why do some marine mammals have lips rather than getting rid of them altogether? And also, why do, like, sea snakes and marine snakes and lizards, whatever, why do they still have their so-called lips? Like, why do they still have them? Why do they not just get rid of them altogether and just adapt something else? So I'm suspecting that whatever reason is that they have them is not going to be based on the argument of, being to do with, the tooth animal. I don't think that's a good argument. It completely ignores any other potential possibility and ecological sort of aspects of how they would behave, maybe certain sophisticated behaviors, like, how geckos that don't have eyelids, we would think that they should have eyelids, but they don't. So what they do, they lick their eyeballs. Very simple. For life finds a way, So I think people underestimate it too much and just jump into this because it's a trendy thing to think. It's a new cool thing that's basically going around, and they just want to jump on it. And I'm just not that kind of guy. Like, don't get me wrong, I consider myself cool. Many friends of mine consider me cool, but I'm just not somebody who's gonna jump on everything that is trendy, because I don't think that everything that's trendy is necessarily representative of what the reality is, considering that a lot of times it's reality by implication at most, which is not really scientific. It relies on the appeal to authority, which is not reliable, because just because somebody thinks that way and he or she happens to be a scientist or something like that, doesn't mean that they're actually telling the truth, because they could be wrong as well. They're not, nobody is insured from being wrong. Let's just say that. There is no such thing that because somebody is a scientist, that means that he or she is automatically right. It's about what arguments they're making, how they conclude this particular notion and stuff like that. So big sauropods is a tricky one, because there are some taxa that have some implications to the beaks, but some of them don't, some of them do. So it's not universally like a thing. I think it may have individually evolved in some of the taxa out there. But that's what I am suspecting happened, if it happened. But no, it's not going to be something I would consider to be a universal trait. It's more an individually developed trait. And also, the other interesting thing about it is that it has this thing about beaks, that they are not actually strangers to archosaurs as such. The idea of the shape as well and this adaptation, it's one of those things that it's quite actually prominent among archosaurs and dinosaurs. So it's not an alien thing to them. While in the case of the so-called lips, that's something that you would really... This is an extraordinary claim. You would definitely have to have quite a substantial amount of evidence to provide that some taxa maybe, or some groups would have had them if they did. So it's one of those things I always look at and just say that maybe if some people are going to be making a claim for this, maybe they should be considering more on an individual basis, because they frequently underestimate and underplay the idea of the difference of evolutionary timeline between the groups and how natural selection works in general. So features tend to appear, disappear, and reappear sometimes. Sometimes they don't. But whether they do or do not, you still have to have the evidence to prove it. Like, I have no problem with people thinking something, you know. What I have a problem with is when they think something and they think that's the common knowledge and that's scientific knowledge. They're basically passing their ideas as scientific knowledge, which I think is not the right way to do it at all. It does a lot of disservice to, those out there who are less experienced and haven't really been, they haven't had a chance to really learn a whole lot, yet. They are just getting into it, and then they just try to inbrain it, and I could almost say pull out a propaganda of some sort, just because it's very kind of, it seems to be a very common thing, for people to just want others to think exactly the same way. This is not my kit, by the way. This is made by Candid Sculpts. You can order it. It's available to order. It's available. So hold on a second. I'll do you a little bit of a favor here. So give me a second. Let's just hope. Well, I'm hoping you are on Facebook in that case, because he doesn't have his own online store yet, to my knowledge. So it's only Facebook and Instagram where you can find him. But I'll drop the link to his Facebook. I don't know about any evidence of lips for Apatosaurus and Diplodocus. I will be honest, I'm generally not very good with sauropods. I'm mostly my main focus is usually these guys, the carnivorous, mainly carnivorous theropods. That's the ones that I have studied most, and then maybe a little bit of ceratopsids, just a tiny bit, but sauropods I haven't really studied too much. But I don't know, I haven't heard of anything. But I mean, again, evidence, specifically what evidence? Like, have they found preserved soft tissue or what? That would qualify as evidence. If it's just something by implication, then that's not evidence. But yeah, to the one, Thomas, in regards to the resin kits, I've dropped the link there. So there is basically a page where you can contact him if you're on Facebook. Okay, we'll just fix up this claw here. This particular piece I got had a few bubbles in them. The reason being is that because it helped me to save money, but of course that's just because I wanted to, and because it didn't bother me that it had them. But if you're very firm on the idea that you don't want any bubbles in them, or to the minimum, at least in the specific areas, just to ask Michael to make sure that he can get you a nice copy. Because when I was asking specifically, since we communicate all the time on regular level and all of that stuff, it's almost like we just work alongside one another. It didn't bother me, so I just went with whatever, because I also got his Anchiceratops that I really that I'm gonna be building next after this one. Not today probably, but next time we'll do another stream or something like that, and we'll build that as well. So, but yeah, they both have a bit of bubbles, but that helped me to save money because I just was a little bit short on it at the time. But another interesting news, I actually purchased, I pre-ordered the model kit of Shane Fox, which is the one that he made for Acrocanthosaurus, also 1:20 scale. It's an old kit, so it has a few things that are a bit shrink wrapped on the skull because it's a bit of a dated design, so I will fix that. But yeah, it will be nice to see when it's done, and I'll have a lot of fun assembling and painting that one as well. Right, let's get this one smoothened out a little bit. Okay. So just filling in these bits and pieces here. Don't know if you can see anything, but yeah. So this bit here, so we need to fix that now. Yeah, Tello, I'm not sure. I mean, again, if they haven't actually found any preservations directly, and I wouldn't be so quick to judge in that sense. If anything, for sauropods, maybe, but I don't see that happening on theropods, at least not on specific categories anyway, considering, well, several factors, lack of evidence, and just, well, starting from the basic one is the lack of evidence, because burden of proof always lies on a positive claim, so they actually have to prove it. Because the thing is, yeah, this may actually be a hypothesis that they currently have on sauropods, but unless there is evidence that can clarify it, it's important to actually get a full context of what the piece of work itself actually, how it addresses it, what's the rhetoric. Because if they don't provide any actual evidence itself, other than just by implication in that sense, then this kind of just leaves it at a stalemate. But that's just how I see it. Like, unless there is evidence supporting it, I would just look at it as if it's just by implication. Yeah, I don't know about that, but let's not discuss these aspects here. They're a bit irrelevant for this thing because not everybody is a member of the group, so it's, whatever. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it's, adults after all, so it's their choice what they do, so let's just leave it at that. But yeah, they're just typical admin issues when it comes to managing groups. You always have somebody who's gonna be making these dumb jokes, and people will just be looking at it like, what the hell? Happens all the time. But yeah, what else I was gonna say? Let me just go up a little bit. Yeah, JW Evolution. Well, what can I say? This DLC should have been the very first thing that should have come out when they first promoted it. So right now, this game in total is gonna cost you almost $100 US with everything put together. So it's literally insane. It's just absolutely mind blowing, and I would probably consider getting that particular DLC, but I'm really furious with how they are treating the customer base. This is a very bad business model. It's not something I think they should pursue in the future. And I'll just say shame on them for doing that. That's all I can say. They should have really done this from the get-go. If there were problems initially, which I don't believe there were, I don't buy this excuse. Some people say there were certain issues they had because they couldn't fully adapt it. But again, I'm looking at the end result as a consumer, and as a consumer, it's not really my problem what issues they were facing. It's not really something I should be worried about. I give my money, and that's all I'm concerned about. So, well, whatever. I don't care about Pokemons. Couldn't care less. Never cared about them, and I don't think I ever will. I've never understood why people like them anyway. I don't know why. That's just me. So yeah, that's not gonna be something that a lot of people will like to hear, but I don't like about Pokemons. I mean, I don't particularly dislike them. I just never got into them. I just never understood why people find them interesting. That's really it. Okay, so we fixed the brows right here. See, on the tips here. So that's fixed. And we're now ready to get to the next bit. But yeah, $24 DLCs, this is just, yeah. As you can probably guess, I'm not very impressed by that sort of ethic, by that business model. I don't like it when, companies are doing stuff like that, because it's just really ridiculous. It had a lot of potential, the JW Evo, considering that the game itself was already expensive as it was at the starter. That's just really not cool that they've only just come around to the point, of getting it, closer to what the original thing was. And that's like, it's one of those things that, I don't know, man. Like Jurassic Park franchise doesn't work as much as it doesn't work without the iconic looking dinosaurs, just as much as it wouldn't work without Ian Malcolm, Ellie Settler, and Dr. Grant, in my opinion. That's basically what it is. All the new characters, mostly aside from Owen, perhaps, they are pretty much useless to me. Maybe Claire is okay, but every other ones, I don't care about them. I couldn't care less what happens to them. I'm not invested into them. I don't find them interesting. They're boring. They're lame, and they don't bring anything to the table. So yeah, to me personally, even in the films as well, Jurassic franchise to me is all about the first and the second film. Everything beyond that, to me, I don't even like. To me, it doesn't exist pretty much, because it starts breaking everything. But I'm okay with some dinosaur looks only when it comes to looks. When from the 2015 for the Raptors, I like the skins, and I like the looks of some of the Jurassic Park 3 dinosaurs as well. But generally speaking, I'm just not really invested into anything that's outside of the first and second film. I mean, even in the second film, for me, the characters were a little bit boring, and aside from Roland Sembo, I will be honest, I wasn't really a fan. Well, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I would disagree that it's bad. I would just say it's different. It's okay still, for as long as the first movie goes. Second movie is just a little bit weaker, but it could be way better if it was done more like the second film. But otherwise, yeah, I can get the sentiment at least. And that's considering that I'm generally very critical, of products overall. I sort of have these ideas and standards of what I would consider to be good and what I don't consider to be good. Like you really have to convince me that something is good if you want me to be on board with this. There are some areas where I can be a little bit biased probably, but generally speaking, I'm very critical towards products like that. I tend to be like that a lot, especially lately, because of what Hollywood makes and does and what sort of crap they're pushing. I become a lot more critical towards it, because it's just a bit obvious what they're trying to do, and I don't like it. So yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there. Right. So yeah, another one that I've recently got myself familiar with was the new Netflix Witcher series. And as you know, I really like Witcher franchise. I've read the books a long time ago when I was still at school. So that's going to be like 20 or so years ago, probably, maybe a bit less than that. I might be exaggerating, but yeah, It was good in some areas, but mostly, in my opinion, the only reason why I'm willing to watch the series is because of Henry Cavill's character, just because he pretty much carries the whole thing on his shoulders. I was not very impressed with many other aspects of it, unfortunately. I think it's really lacking. It's failing. For me, it fails to immerse because of the swapping that they've done with certain character looks. There are many characters they outright race swapped, and I don't like that. I don't buy that. I'm a person of an ethnic background myself, and if they were trying to do something like this and say, oh yeah, we're gonna just put an Armenian actor there because we think that's gonna please Armenian audience, well, no, that's not going to do that. Yeah, it's a really nice kit, isn't it? It's pretty cool. So we're just about to get the top bits done as well. And I'm just going to lean like this for a bit because it's not comfortable to do it in the midair. Just really need to put that filler in there so I can get the upper head part inside. And then we'll do the lower jaw. But for the lower jaw, I'll need to probably mix up a bit more of the filler. So just bear with me a few moments and we should be good. Okay, so we'll fill some of that in a little bit, but generally that's where we at. So just to kind of put that into perspective. I mean, this is what it would look like when it's fully assembled. I haven't read the books for a very long time, and that actually goes both to Jurassic Park franchise and the Witcher franchise as well, because I was literally like a young adult / teenager when I read both of the books. It's the same with George R.R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire stuff as well. Some of the books I caught up with obviously later because they came out later, but the original ones, the first ones I read as they came out back in the days, pretty much. Mostly, well, I mean, it depends. But generally speaking, yeah, I think most people tend to favor books more than the movie adaptations for a variety of reasons, which are very valid in my opinion. But in terms of the movies, at least, if you just look at the movies in isolation, I definitely feel like the second movie characters are lacking, with the exception of Roland Tembo. But and that's what partially made me not very invested into the story, because they've spent too much focus on making it look cool, where I just don't think it was necessary. Like the San Diego sequence was not necessary, in my opinion. They didn't need that. And instead, they could have focused more on character development, which is what I wanted. And I kind of felt like that was lacking, because regardless of where the fact that you like dinosaurs and everything, if your main story is lacking with its main characters and you're not invested into them, you're not going to be interested in looking at it, because dinosaurs are there to provide you with the context and the setting and the world building and stuff like that. And they are just there to kind of act as certain kind of factors, that push the characters into certain positions. But they're not there as the main stars in that sense. Like, you still have to rely a lot on the characters to actually build the plot and pave it, rather than force the characters into the plot already that you preconceived, which is the typical problem that a lot of Hollywood filmmakers do. They make it so that they already have an idea of a narrative, and they're trying to force their characters, regardless of whether it's in their character or not, to fit into that narrative. And I think that's not a very good way to do it. It's one of the reasons why Game of Thrones, for example, failed miserably, because it just started going into the idea of, of characters no longer building and, laying out the plot, but it's become more apparent that they were trying to force the characters into the plot. Well, he can say whatever he likes, but again, everybody will have different opinions on the matter. To me personally, I liked dinosaurs when they were portrayed as actual animals rather than become more almost humanized characters on the screen. But yeah, that's just me. I'm not really on board with this whole thing where they try to make dinosaurs almost like acting together in conjunction with humans. I'm just not really. To me, it ruins the immersion personally. I prefer the dinosaurs to be more independent of the human characters and kind of there to be as a very strong sort of factor, whether it's an obstacle or any other kind of pushing plot device, but very powerful plot device nevertheless, rather than being together with humans, which is not what I personally think is nice. Okay, so this is coming together nicely. We just need to spread out the filler a little bit, and we're nearly done, by the way. Yeah, guys, we're nearly finished with this one. It's just a little bit. No, I disagree. I don't like the fact that they've completely ruined the whole idea of raptors not being scary anymore. To me, it's like animals in generally, when they're dangerous animals, they should instill some kind of fear into humans, because if you are there in a specific environment with them outside of your control, then I think it's only a valid thing to express the fear, in that sense. And if you don't, it just makes it very unorganic, non-organic, inorganic, whatever. You get the point. So I'm not saying that they should be scary for the sake of, oh, it's not scary, therefore whatever. No, not like this. I'm saying that in certain situations, they should instill certain fear, like any other real animal would, which even if you consider this animal pretty sweet and cute, like an elephant, for example, and how elephants are incredibly smart as well, but they are also very dangerous animals. They do instill fear in certain situations, and they should. And that's what I'm trying to kind of make the point across here. That's sort of idea, that they should be instilling fear in certain situations. Well, in some situations you could kind of look at it differently, but remember also they are dinosaurs. They're not really going to be on the same par as mammals, because mammals are a little bit more in that sense. I mean, okay, it may not be a very fair argument to make, because despite the fact that many people consider crocodiles to be relatively dumb, they're not really that dumb, actually. They're pretty smart animals as well. And in some cases, it's the same with snakes, maybe in some cases with some lizards, like the bearded dragons or the Argentine tegus, for example. But it's still different, the idea of expressing of affection, right? It's still different in a variety of reptiles from, say, mammals. Mammals, they express affection a lot more than reptiles do, on average. which is why I would be more probably immersed if we did not see as much of that affection aside from certain contexts where it was relevant. Like it was perfectly relevant in situations where like the T-Rex couple were, going after their baby, whatever, like, and when they are, together, you can see that they care for the baby, or the Stegosaurus as well. Again, same thing, Stegosaurus baby with the herd and all of that stuff. So that I can understand, and I'm okay with that. But not to the degree where dinosaurs would come in and basically try to help humans out or whatever. Or to the degree where you have Blue basically helping out T-Rex to fight the Indominus Rex, because technically there's absolutely no reason why it should have happened. Like absolutely no reason. Yeah, it's true. It's a very common sort of perception of reptiles as more dangerous because maybe they are just a little bit more mechanical with their reactions to certain things, like when they get defensive. Mostly because most of the times when you get certain responses from reptiles, it's a defensive response. It's not offensive as much as it is mostly defensive. Just thought I'd make that point clear as well. So when a snake tries to bite you, it's more likely that it feels threatened by you. That's why it tries to bite you. And even before it does, it usually gives you fair warning signs before it starts charging at you with its mouth wide open. So well, yeah, you could probably. Like, I've spent quite enough time going around here in the parks with birds, specifically with Canada geese and mute swans and ducks. And most of them tend to be more of a, type that they don't like to be too close to you most of the time. They prefer to keep their distance. And since you are too big for them to attack, they tend to just run away. But in some cases, swans, they can, especially if they have cygnets nearby, the daddy swan, usually the male, he can try to attack as well as a defensive response. In fact, they can be quite vicious and powerful. If you are not careful enough, they can actually, well, mess you up quite badly. I was gonna use the F word there, but I prefer not to because YouTube is being stupid about these things now. Okay, we're nearly done, guys. We're just about finished with the filler, and then we can basically say it's done after the filler is finished. But yeah, this is what the Daspletosaurus torosus by Candid Sculpts looks like, more or less, give or take. This is a nice angle, I think. Or this one. This is nice too. Or maybe if you were to do it from the rear, that's a nice angle as well. Yep, emus, cassowaries, ostriches, those big ones, if they decide that you're too threatening for them for whatever reason, they will have a go at you. And it can be quite nasty. So yeah, generally speaking, imagine this kind of response from dinosaurs that were significantly either bigger, or some of them, in case of like Gallimimus, for example, imagine like it's much bigger than any ostrich that is known today, considerably bigger. So that thing could probably kill you quite easily if it was pissed off at you for whatever reason. Even though it's not a predator, it's just, minding its own business. But if you decide to threaten it, I'm pretty sure it would be quite firm when it comes to self-defense. But yeah, guys, this Daspletosaurus torosus, first described in 1970 by Dale Russell, rest in peace. And lots of other cool things in terms of the input to paleontology in general on his behalf. I think the Chasmosaurus russelli was named after him as well a while back. Okay. Now let's just get this one done a bit. Yeah, we're nearly done with this, guys. We're nearly there. And it's just over 1 hour now. So I think once we're done with this, I'll show you quickly what other pieces I'm working on. And then we'll probably have to call it a day because I'll have other things to do as well. I don't have time to stick around forever. But let's just focus on finishing this DAS, and then we will see what other pieces I've got back there. No. So there's like a little bit of a hole there that we have to fill up a bit. Yeah, there we go. I mean, fillers are generally a bit of a pain in the butt, to be honest. They are very, because they're a bit sticky and just a little bit annoying overall, especially when you try to get into the thin lines. That's where they are the most annoying. I mean, they're doable, but yeah, doesn't mean I like them. But without them, though, it's like it makes the kits look a little bit clanky, so you don't want that either. That's why for those who want to get into building model kits, make sure then you find a way to learn how to use these things like fillers and stuff like that before you get into more advanced kits, because there are some kits that you could look at and they're like more individual. Pterosaurus, yes. But later, when I start getting into the Mongolian Nemegt Formation ecosystem, which I plan because I love that area a lot. It's one of my personal favorites, so you can bet I'm definitely gonna do it. I have that plan anyway, but maybe after I do a few Hell Creek taxons and Morrisons, etc., to medicine. Again, it's on the same sort of queue list as my plans for the Hatek Basin. And also, I might, because Michael already started, Michael, the same guy who basically made this kit, he started doing armature for a Dino-tyrannus, but he's abandoned it, and he's thinking that he might not actually continue with it because he has other plans. He wants to do mainly the Canadian dinosaurs, which are mostly around the Horseshoe Canyon Formation, which is fair enough because he's already done a couple from them already, and he wants to kind of focus on that area. So I offered him to just basically buy the armature of Dino-tyrannus from him and just continue and finish the piece for him, as in like for myself, but I will buy the the template from him, so to speak. So maybe the first Nemegt formation piece that will come from me will be that Dino-tyrannus first, and then after that we will get into other stuff like Therizinosaurus, Tarbosaurus, Saurolophus, and all of that other stuff. So yeah, it should be good. We should be sorted, hopefully. Once he finishes his Borealopelta kit, I intend to buy that together with his Dino-tyrannus so that he can ship them to me 2 at a time. And hopefully by then I will have some more kits of my own available too. Currently, the only one that is available from 1 to 20 scale is Torosus. And from my 1 to 10 scale, I still have the Oviraptor, Echinocephalus, and the Stegosaurus. But I'm probably going to be making a Stegosaurus stenops species again, but in 1 to 20 scale. And once I do that, I'll probably decommission this 1 to 10 scale because it's just way too clunky and it's a bit too big for a variety of reasons to kind of, it's just really uncomfortable to work with as well in that sense. So if people want commissions, it's really hard because the shipping just damages the piece every single time. I've sent twice already to different customers, and I'm not gonna do Kangasaurus, but I will do Alioramus altai, and it will be the skeleton itself will actually be based on Kangasaurus and slightly upscaled because Alioramus altai is still a very young individual, so I will have to upscale it a little bit. So it will pretty much be a similar size, maybe slightly, just a tiny bit smaller than Kangasaurus, but the skull shape will follow Alioramus altai, but the skeleton will follow Kangasaurus, so to speak. So yes, we will have one of those, but since I'm trying to focus on a specific ecosystem, might as well do it so that we have more of these together, so you can put them together and see like these animals. Yeah, some of them or most of them would have lived at the same time in the same place, which is quite a nice way to look at them when you put it in perspective. Now, yeah, I hope Dale Russell would be proud of this nice piece if he were able to see it, but oh well, unfortunately. But yeah, for those of you who have joined, who are new here, this is the live stream of me building a kit of the Daspletosaurus torosus, and it's also in the memory of Dale Russell, who has passed away last year. Since he was the one who described this taxon, the first species, this particular species as well. So that's basically what we're doing here. And in fact, I think we're done. Let me just carefully put that. Yeah, it stands, but I want to make my own base for it for the safety reasons, because if somebody nudges the cabinet or the shelf, it can easily topple over and damage it. So I don't want that to happen. So we are definitely going to do something about that, but we'll do that later. Right now, we are going to basically show you some of my pieces that I'm working on. So I'm going to bring them over here and just talk to you a little bit about them. And then we'll see what happens. And maybe after that, we might probably have to head out, but let's just give it a few minutes. So let me just get rid of some of this stuff. Guys, I will put this, which angle shall I do it? Let's just do it this way. No, sorry, I'm afraid that it's going to fall. So I'm just going to put it right here. And I'll be right back. I just need to wash my hands because this is a bit sticky. So give me a few seconds, literally. Okay, so what's the story on Balaur? Balaur is the Romanian taxon. I think it's a troodontid, and it's from a Hateg basin ecosystem, which is one of the things I want to do eventually. And it's included in the list of taxa that I would like to make. But yes, the main part of the stream technically is finished. We'll do a bonus bit at the end now. So let's take a quick look at this Daspletosaurus. I don't know if you can see. Again, never mind the colors of the filler. It's gonna all be smooth once it's basically, painted and everything. So we should be okay. All right, well, guys, as far as I'm concerned, the Daspletosaurus torosus is done. Now, the only thing I will have to do next, and I'll not do it here because it's going to be a bit of a messy process. It's basically making the base for it, but I'll have to do that from the epoxy later on. So we will put that aside now, and I'll show you some other things that I'm either working on now or planning to work on very soon. So hang on a second. Now this right here is another kit that I will be building very soon. It's Anchiceratops ornatus. Also made by Michael from Candid Sculpts. And as I said, I didn't care about the fact that it has a few minor bits and pieces like the bubbles here, which I'll use the filler for because I did it because I wanted to get a good discount, so I just went with it. So if you want to get a bit of a thing, I don't know if I can really. Yeah, so that's what the mouth would look like. That's with the horns as well. And of course, the legs right here and the tail. And that's the torso part. Also 1:20 scale, so we'll do that sometime. So for now, I'll put this aside and I'll bring you some other stuff. Okay, so now allow me to explain what's going on here. This is the armature for my Allosaurus fragilis that I am currently working on for my Morrison formation collection. Now, I'll try to put this carefully. I'm nearly done with the upper side of the head, so I'll need to drill the eye bit so I can put the ball bearing in, but that's what my Allosaurus looks like here. Just trying to see if I can get a good angle because it gets a little bit lost. So yeah, I need to do a bit of the inside right here. I'll need to do that a little bit. And this is the armature for the lower jaw. So it will come together maybe at about this kind of gape. I'm not gonna do like a full open mouth or fully closed. I'm just gonna do it like barely open, like as if it's just taking a breath or just kind of, opening up for whatever reasons, just cooling off or whatever it is that they do. And I've done the right arm for it as well. So when it's done and everything, it's just gonna go in here. Because first I need to do the arms, and then when I'm done with the arms, I'm gonna do the torso, and then I press the already baked arms in there so that they can leave the imprint, so that they fit nicely. Now let's put the Allosaurus aside for a bit, just so we don't knock it over by accident. I absolutely hate it when I'll knock over my pieces, and my heart just goes kablamo, because I'm just like closing my eyes and trying to carefully look if I've broken anything, because it's one of the worst things ever. But yeah, from the Morrison, while we're at it, this is going to be Harpactognathos. As you can see, it's just a rough outline, so I will have to obviously do all the detailing, get rid or add whatever areas, it's still being shaped up a little bit. So that's one of them. And the kit might actually be possible with us. Maybe I will have to chop off the tail, and I don't know about the legs, but I think it might be possible to do it as a single piece. Then we have the Kypodactylus, also outlined more or less. So we will just keep working on that. And this one here is from To Medicine Formation. It's I think it's Montana Darko or Montana Draco or something like that. Montana Darko, I think. It's from To Medicine Formation. So that's going to be an addition to that. And this one, this tiny little mountain goat of Cretaceous, as I like to call it, is going to be a Leptoceratops for the Hell Creek Formation collection. So those are these ones. Now I'm going to put these ones back, and I'll bring you some other stuff that is sitting back there. So give me a few seconds. Oh, almost messed it up. Okay, so these are finished pieces. They are ready to be molded into the model kit. So this one right here is a Pachycephalosaurus from Hell Creek Formation. So I'm just going to try to give a nice view of the skull. That's its torso. So it will basically fit like that. And once you apply the fillers and everything, so you can seal the gaps in, etc., etc. So I might actually use the file a little bit and maybe just get rid of some areas so that it can fall in a bit smoother. But generally, yeah, that's where it goes, like that, give or take. And of course, you got the legs here. So you got the leg right here. That one goes into a base. So it will go like so, right here. And then you do the filler and smooth it out as well. And of course, you got the arms right here. So they go in here like so. Like this way, roughly. And you've got the other leg here, that's off the ground leg, that goes like so. And of course, the last bit, the tail, goes like that. Now, the second kit is Ankylosaurus, Horneri, by the way, as well. So this is also complete. We just need to mold and cast it, and I already have a potential customer for it, so I might actually try to get that one done very soon. So that's the head. Oh, and these ones I've done separately. So they'll go here like that. And the other one will go here. Ah, damn it. I cannot do it because everything's going to start falling off, but let me just try my best. I don't have a glue tack on me to do it, but yeah, there we go. So it will be something like that. Just a closer look on the face, if you can see it. Don't know if the camera is being a bit stupid or not. Okay. Yeah, camera is really being annoying right now for some reason. I don't know why. So then, of course, fits like here on the torso. Of course, once again, the gaps, you will need to fill them with a filler. And that's the torso. Then you got the tail. It goes like that. And of course, then you have all the legs and stuff. So let's bring this out. Sorry, I mean, take this away and bring out the next pieces. So hang on a second. By the way, can you type to make sure that everybody's still here? Everybody is still watching and connected, right? Okay. I think there are a few other people here as well who are watching. Okay, so this one is going to be Daspletosaurus horneri. So it's basically a sister species to that Daspletosaurus torosus that I've just finished building. Now, I'm remaking the head. So this is the template for the upper headpiece. It's just got the dentition and some of the basic foundation to it. So it's technically not really looking anything special yet. But we've got the base right here. So that's where the foot on the ground goes. That's just the footprint here. Decided to put that in, and a rock as well. And you can obviously add some other stuff here if you want to when you're building it. Then we've got the foot right here. Just goes in like that. Same principle. And then you've got the other pieces, the torso, the other way around, with the body and, you know, the body and the tail. So it goes like that. Yeah, mine is obviously more massive. Like I've made my Tyrannosaurids way more massive than Michael did. Michael's are quite skinny. Well, his torosus turned out a bit skinny. But actually, if you look at closely, there are a few things that are quite a bit different between my torosus and his, my horneri and his torosus. But They actually are quite, similar dimensions in terms of scale. It's just a different styling approach. His one looks more like Andy Atuchin's type of approach, with a bit of his own. Mine is a little bit more kind of beefy. So if you look at this, that's how the leg comes together. And then it's the off the ground leg as well. I might have to go over these areas a little bit. Like I'm thinking about here doing slightly thicker bit at the claws because I think they're a bit too thin. So I want to thicken that up to kind of blend this in a little bit. So I'll have to do that later. And then, of course, we got the arms. As you can see, they're supposed to be proportionally bigger for the Daspletosaurus than all other tyrannosaurids. So that's what the arms and the body would look like together. But unfortunately, we don't have the head yet. It's in the progress, so we'll have to wait and see for the head. Hopefully it turns out good. Now, I've got, what else have I got? Yes, I do have a few more pieces, so I'll be right back. Just a second, guys, just a second. Okay, so there is this as well. And you would have probably seen it, maybe pop up on my newsfeed somewhere. This is a Dinosuchus, so that's the torso already done. This kit is ready to be molded as well, and I've already got people who are interested in it. So this is going to be quite a beast when it's built and painted. I cannot wait. It's roughly 50 or so centimeters in length, I think. 1:20 scale, as usual. Pretty big. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. So we have the... Where is it? Come on, where'd you go? Yeah. Or not here. Hold on. I'm confused. Yeah, here. So yeah, the limbs. Yep, that's exactly it. The Chad croc. Well, alligatoroid, really. But whatever. Croc. So that's the head. And I would have to slightly adjust the bottom maybe a little bit, just so they both fit properly. So there's not big of a gap here, so it fits, because I think during the baking it's slightly deformed, so it doesn't fit, but basically that's what it would be like. Just want to try to hold it. But ignore the gap, I'm going to adjust it later. So I'll fix the gap. I'll have to probably cut carefully and file down this bottom bit here, and then it should be able to slide in nicely. So yeah, like so. But yeah, this one is ready to mold and cast. It's going to be quite awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this does. This thing itself is actually quite heavy, like really quite heavy. So I'll be right back and I'll show you a few other pieces, but they are just something that I've built already and painted. Okay, so this is a Nano-tyrannus from also by Michael, which was along with this Paleontology lacustae. Both of them I've purchased from Mike together and built and painted myself as well. Of course, the camera here doesn't really do it proper justice. You will see my photographs on social media where it's done a lot better. But yeah, it's quite cool. I think they turned out quite nicely. Oh, Tarbosaurus is gonna be like, oh my god. I mean, definitely something yellow, I'm thinking. Yellow combined maybe with brown or something like that, maybe black, I'm not sure yet. But definitely something deserty, like hardcore deserty, but I haven't decided yet. It's gonna be a long time before I do a Tarbosaurus, so I'm not even thinking about it yet, but that's probably what I'm gonna do with it. And also to show off the Nano-tyrannus a little bit as well. And this is my kit. This is my Ceratosaurus. Right. Now, what I'll do quickly is I'll show you some other things that I got printed out. Just a few, let's just say, spoilers for what's to come ahead. Which do you mean? What do you mean? Which Tyrannosaurus? You mean my earlier kit, the one that I've done for the 1:35 scale, or you meant which I'm going to do in the future? Yeah, I understand what you're talking about, that it's a T-Rex. I'm just saying which one exactly. Are you talking about the one that I'm planning to make or what? Because there isn't any. I mean, are you talking about specific piece or just in general? Oh, whichever. Okay. Well, I'm planning to actually make a T-Rex myself anyway. It's not gonna be soon because I want to make a few other pieces before I do that. Since T-Rex is gonna be quite a big piece, and I want to make sure I get prepared for it properly so I can do it nicely. Because it's gonna be quite a tough one to do, but it's something I really want to do. So I'm kind of all of this is me preparing for making a T-Rex in the future. and other large theropods like Giganotosaurus or Carcharodontosaurus or whatever. But color-wise, I'm gonna be mixing green, definitely, like a light swampy green maybe of sort. And for other patterning, I might do something like a dark brown mixed with green. And on the bottom, I'm gonna be doing light beige of some sort. That's probably for the T-Rex. For my Daspletosaurus horneri, I'm pretty much gonna mimic the Cuvier dwarf caiman. And for the Mike's Daspletosaurus torosus, by the way, I'm gonna be mimicking the colors of the Cuban crocodile. So I think that's gonna turn out quite cool. For the Ceratosaurus, the one that I've showed you right now, I might actually sell this particular specimen and build myself another one. And I want to paint it slightly different color. I mean, also green, but I want to change the tonality a little bit. But if anybody here is interested in this one, let me know, and I'll drop you the price for that whenever. So I'm estimating, I mean, my raw kit costs $115 for this, but the finished and built model, I'll probably say 175 USD, maybe 185. So have a think about it. If anybody wants this for $185, then do that. I don't really like the red colors, to be honest, not in their classic sort of form. I like to use them sometimes for like specific highlights and stuff, but I don't like them en masse. But I might do something reddish, maybe, or highlight reddish. Well, I mean, technically, Cuvier dwarf caiman has that kind of brick red snout, so that's what I'm probably gonna do for the Daspletosaurus horneri when I make the kit. But the generally dark red crimson, I'm not a fan of that for big animals. I might do it for smaller animals, but I don't really favor it for the bigger animals like that. So let's show you a few things that I'm gonna be working on or already started. So, as you know, Leptoceratops, I already started it. This is the Ornitholestes that I'm gonna do as well from Morrison. And this is the Anzu Wiley. That's gonna be from Hill Creek. So I'm gonna do this one. So anybody here who likes oviraptors or, you know, feathered dinosaurs, this will be your guy right here. Now, the next bit here that I've got planned out, it's also Morrison taxa. And it's, what's it called? Tanical, okay, hang on, I can do this. Tanicolaegrius or something like that, I think. So that's from the Morrison as well. That's from both the Judith River Formation and from Hell Creek, Brachycampsa, Montana. And this is Marchosaurus from the Morrison as well. And I think you spelled it wrong. I think it is Anzu, not Asnu. Hold on, let me check. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah, it is Anzu. It's not Asnu. It's Anzu. Yeah. There we go. Unless it was a mistype, but yeah, it is definitely Anzu. I just checked to make sure because maybe I've been saying it wrong the whole time. No, it's Anzu. Now, last spoiler. Are you ready? Oh yeah. Torvosaurus tanneri. So this will be another one for the Morrison, a major addition to the Morrison at one point or another. So I've made it ready just in case. But yeah, it's definitely gonna happen. Let's hope all of this stuff happens. But a lot of it will depend as well on how well, people gonna be making purchases. The more people buy, the more it gives me finances to invest into other projects, so I can bring a lot more people out. Oh, sorry, what am I saying? People, a lot more creatures out for the people. That's what I meant. So boom, there we go, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's almost 2 hours now. I have to go. And once again, rest in peace, Dale Russell. And I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you are just turning up here, then sorry that I have to cut it short because we've already been here a while. And feel free to leave the comments. Go to the Discord server. I will drop the link to it actually quickly right here. Just quick invitation for those who haven't caught up yet. I'm pretty sure most of you have already, who have Discord, you're already there. But let's just make sure, you never know. Copy, paste, there we go. So those of you who haven't tuned in Discord, jump on there. And thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you all later, and Rex out. So I'm ending the stream right now.